Hi everybody, TJ Mack Vintage Cards here, and today I'm doing a profile of the 1986 Topps baseball set. I'll be profiling 80s football and baseball this weekend, and then I'll also be doing another episode of Through the Cardboard, and we'll see how that goes. And just kind of scrolling through real quick here to give you a look at some of the cards from this year. And I built 30 of the high-profile cards that I chose, like I do for every other year in baseball. And I did include some of the traded cards as well, just because they're from the set. Granted, it's an extended set from the base set. And to me, when I look at these cards, this isn't really one of the most popular sets in the hobby because it doesn't have a lot of Hall of Fame rookies. Certainly the base set doesn't, the traded set does, but the base set doesn't have any of the Hall of Fame rookie cards in it. So it's not as popular in the collecting community, but when I put this set together, I was just so amazed with how well these look when they're displayed in this fashion. It's one of my favorite sets to put up in my card room when I do display it, just because I think the cards are just beautiful when they're, again, all assembled together like this. So let me know what you think of that. If you choose to comment on the video, I'd appreciate that, because that's what I really admired about this set when I did it. And some of those cards could be really hard to get at a decent price, because when you're collecting these years, I mean, the difference between the raw and the graded can be quite big, because these were pretty mass-produced cards, but there aren't as many of them graded as there are in other years. So when you do find one, especially the lesser stars, it could get quite pricey for what you're getting anyway. So just going through here, I'm just going to hit on some of the individual cards. We got, starting with Pete Rose. This is the year after he broke the all-time hits record. He did have, similar to Hank Aaron in 1974, a card series issued after card number 1 here that profiled each of his cards issued by Topps throughout the years. And it's a pretty cool little subset contained within the base set. And then next to him you have Tony Gwynn, and Tony Gwynn is tied for second with most batting titles all time with 8, with Honus Wagner. Ty Cobb's the all-time leader. In 1986, Gwynn hit .329 and led the National League with 211 hits. What people forget is that Tony Gwynn was a smart base runner with above-average speed early in his career. In 1986, he stole 5 bases against the Astros. However, it was as a hitting savant that Gwynn will be remembered most for. And there's a cool story I read by Tim Flannery, one of his former teammates, when he talked about a road game they played in Cincinnati, and the rainstorm came in and the Reds were winning 2-0, and Gwynn was at the plate with 2 runners on base. And what they did is the Reds brought in a left-hander from the bullpen, and then the rain resumed before they could deliver the first pitch to the plate. The game was suspended at that point, and it was to be started the next day at the exact same point of the game. Now, because of all the rain delays, it was 11:30 at night, and Tony and Tim Flannery are walking up the tunnel of Riverfront when Gwynn says to Tim, "Hey, Flan, I want you to be ready tomorrow because this guy's going to throw me a first pitch slider. I'm going to hit it into the left field gap. It's going to score 2 runs, and we're going to be tied." Sure enough, the next day comes, first pitch slider, boom, left center field, both runners score, the game is tied. Tony looks at me and smiles. I'll guarantee you this, before he went to bed last night, that lefty didn't know he was going to throw that, but I knew. And Tim just said an amazing, amazing player Gwynn was. And then next to him here you got Barry Bonds rookie, and then Eddie Murray, and then we got the Bo Jackson rookie as well. And he made his Major League debut in 1986, and he was the second Heisman Trophy winner ever to play a Major League game. The first was Vic Janowitz, who won the Heisman in 1950 and made his debut in the majors in 1953. There's the Dave Winfield. And then nice 2-for-1 card with Eric Davis and Tony Perez. Nolan Ryan. Got the Topps traded Tom Seaver on the Red Sox. There's lefty Steve Carlton. Got his 4,000th strikeout in 1986. Alan Trammell. There's Gary Carter. Mets won the World Series that year, of course, we know, in 7 games over the Red Sox. Game 6, the famous Bill Buckner play where the ball dribbles between his legs that was hit by Mookie Wilson to score Ray Knight to win the game. And then the Red Sox would go on to lose Game 7. And Gary Carter in that year, he had 24 home runs and 105 RBIs. Nice offensive and defensive catcher. This was, when I was buying the card, this was a tough card to get, this Mattingly. It took me a while to get one. It was getting quite pricey. I always love this card, one of my favorite cards of Mattingly. And in this year he hit 352. He set a Yankee record with 238 hits, 53 doubles, which also led the majors. And I also learned this, that it was Kirby Puckett who came up with Mattingly's nickname, Donnie Baseball. I never knew that. So it was just a nice little piece of information I found when I was researching this. There's Mike Schmidt, won his third MVP in 1986. Led the majors with 37 home runs, I want to say in my notes. And he had also 290 batting average and 119 RBIs. So really his last great year, where he won the MVP anyway. And then you got Paul Molitor next to him. And then there's Carlton Fisk, George Brett. And then Kirby Puckett, always loved this card. Love the colors on the card with the red lettering and his uniform. Just really presents nicely, nice action shot. And it was during spring training in 1986, I read a story about, told by Bob Costas, and he was having lunch with Kirby Puckett and his wife Tanya, who was then his fiance. And then Costas said, my wife is pregnant, and he asked if we had a name picked out. And Costas says, no, we didn't. Then he asked if we knew if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and Costas said we weren't planning to know until the birth. He said, well, how about Kirby? That works for a boy or a girl. Costas jokingly said, I'll tell you what, if you're hitting 350 by the time this baby's born, we'll name him or her after you. As it turns out, he was hitting 372 at the time. And Costas' wife really wouldn't go for Kirby. She had her heart set on Keith, which is her younger brother's name. So they went with two middle names, and Kirby became the second middle name. But that is his legal, honest-to-gosh name, Keith Michael Kirby Costas. So I thought that was really interesting. Kirby, I guess, was known as quite the talker. Some of his teammates, when especially if they were his roommates, said it was really hard to sleep at night because he would just go on and talking, and you couldn't get a word in edgewise. So just a great guy, and certainly a great player. Here we got Cal Ripken, Rod Carew, Rickey Henderson, who in '86 had his second 20 home run, 50-plus stolen base season. Wade Boggs, who won the batting title in 1986 in the AL with a 357 batting average, 105 walks, on base percentage of 455. There's the Eck on the cusp of glory with the A's that would put him in his Hall of Fame career, but here he is with the Cubs. Roger Clemens, phenomenal year in '86, won the AL MVP, Cy Young with 24 wins, 2.48 ERA. He also won the All-Star game that year, and he fanned 20 Mariners, which is tied for the Major League record. He did it twice. He also did it in 1996, but also Kerry Wood did it in '98, and Max Scherzer did it as well a few years ago with the Nationals. Here's Ryan Sandberg, Mr. October, Ozzie Smith. This was the last card I needed to complete this. Andre Dawson. Took me a while to find one at a decent price, but I eventually did. Paid a little more than I wanted to, but I wanted to finish the set. That's when those high buy it nows really work. And then Robin Yount. And then here's the Phil Niekro. And what's cool about this is Phil Niekro and Don Sutton faced each other on June 28th in 1986. And it was the first duel between 300 game winners since 1892. So that was a really cool little piece of information. So I'm glad everybody could stop in and watch the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to speaking with you all again. And appreciate all your support. and have a great, great day.